Hello and welcome to Finding Focus, conversations on photography in Scotland. This is a new podcast made by me, Christina Webber. I am a visual artist based in Edinburgh. I've lived here for almost 10 years now, and this essentially aims to be a really informal chat between me and a handful of photographers that I admire, talking a bit about how they kind of found their way into the photography industry and on a particular project that I have asked them to talk about. This is definitely an experiment at this stage, and due to the current situation I do not have access to some of the equipment that I would like as we're all in lockdown, but I thought it would be a good opportunity to just get the first few out there anyway, as I think people could use a pint and a chat right now. So please let me know what you think. All feedback is welcome. I really want to make these better and continue to improve, so yeah, any support or advice would be great. In this episode we are talking to Erin Semple, a fantastic lens-based artist living in Glasgow. Erin is currently on the New Photographers Guild programme with Street Level Photoworks. She also has recently undertaken a residency at Cove Park. In 2018, Erin graduated from Glasgow School of Art, and the year before that she co-founded Fresh Focus at Stills with myself and Zoe Hamill. Thank you so much, please enjoy. This is Finding Focus. Today I am here at the Brass Monkey with Erin Semple, and we're going to be talking a bit about her project 24, as well as general photo life things. That's that sets the scene. So if you'd like to say hello, Erin.
Hello.
It just makes it sound like I'm not talking to myself. I think that with these things it's best to just start with the most terrifying thing of all, which is like an icebreaker. So
okay. Would
you mind just doing a brief introduction of yourself and your involvement with photography?
I'm Erin. I am a recent-ish graduate from the MLit in Fine Art Practice. I specialised in photography. I did that at the Glasgow Art School. And then before that I studied at Edinburgh Napier. I did photography there, and I'm a co-founder of Fresh Focus, which is a graduate support group, critique group for recent graduates. It's run out of Stills in Edinburgh, and it's just an alright, good bunch of people. So yeah, my work, I guess, is about landscapes and self, notions of home, the idea of what a home is, what land is, what the self is, I guess, is what I'm trying to explore most in my work. So yeah, I think that's me.
Thank you so much. Just straight off the bat, as you mentioned Fresh Focus, what kind of benefit do you think that being involved with a critique group, what kind of benefit do you think that has brought you as an artist and as a photographer, trying to navigate the world post-education?
I think, after graduating, it is the shittest time of your life, ever. I'm only a year since graduating from GSA, and it is it's just fucking awful, and it's the loneliest time. You can feel like you're just by yourself, and I think Fresh Focus is really good because you get to come together 2 times a month, and you get to nerd out a wee bit, you get to talk about your work, you get to talk about your friends' work, you make friends, which is really important, and you're just not as lonely. You're kind of reminded that you're not just screaming into the void, that there's people out there that kind of care about your work and want you to succeed. And I think Fresh Focus is a really good group for that, because I feel like everyone in Fresh Focus is my friend. We are just a group of friends that talk about photography and talk about photos, and we have studied in different places. at the end of the day, like, everyone in Fresh Focus is just an equal that you want to see succeed, but they also want you to succeed. And I think that's such like an important thing about Fresh Focus is it's this really like non-pressure support group. And I always see it as like it is a support group. It's not like another type of like program like a mentorship or something. It's just a support group. It's other people supporting each other and themselves. So yeah, I think Fresh Focus is great for that, because if Fresh Focus didn't exist, I don't think I would be making work. Like, I was a bit last year where I was like, I'm just gonna, like, this isn't working. Why am I doing this? Why am I trying so hard to get nothing? But having Fresh Focus, like, it's just a nice reminder that people like your work, people care about your work, people want you to make more work. And I think it's hard to remember that if you don't become like immediately successful after graduating. You know, you don't have your work in loads of shows, you don't like make work because you've got a full-time job now. Like, I think it's really hard to not feel lonely and not feel like what's the point in this? And I think Fresh Focus is like such a good place to just not feel like alone and shit.
Oh yeah, at least feel like shit together.
Yeah, like, and then we do feel like shit together.
Screaming
because
into the void together.
Yeah, we come together and we talk about like we talk about like everything. We talk about bloody printing photos on ham, and then we talk about jobs that we've gone for, or like we talk about our personal lives. It's not just about photography. It is really a support group, and it's like we'll tell each other like, oh, we're going for like a job interview, like, fuck my life, I hate my job, and everyone's there kind of like feeling the same. They're like, if they don't feel the same, if they're lucky enough to like be in a position where they're working photography, they're like, we're like, oh well, this is what I did to like kind of get somewhere. Like, yeah, it is just a support group. Do you think that today, with so much of the digital peer group in photography and in all kind of arts, I guess, so much of it is a very edited representation of people's selves that they put forward, and when you're in that environment and that's the only interaction you have with your peers, it's very easy to be completely unmotivated and consistently compare yourself. But do you think maybe a good antidote to that takeaway from the digital peer group is to have a physical community like Fresh Focus where you meet up? Yeah,
in person.
like 100%, because everyone puts like their best face forward on Instagram, and like it's literally everything. I deleted LinkedIn a few weeks ago because I was on it and I saw someone who got a job that I really wanted, and I was just like was filled with this like such like jealousy, but then it made me like really depressed, and I was like, well, if I'd known that job was like it's just kind of this thing where you're constantly seeing what other people have and comparing yourself to that and wanting what they have, even if it's like a job that you maybe necessarily don't want because it's in photography or in the arts. You're like, yeah, why isn't that me? Why am I stuck working in a call center or working in a cafe or like working like anywhere that's not in the field that you like have studied to work in? To then like go onto like Instagram and then see like people just, you know, they're constantly having exhibitions and they're constantly doing that. And I think it's so grounding to then meet people in real life and talk to them. There's so many people that I thought were like really successful, and then you meet them and you're like, yeah, they're successful, they work hard, but they also work as a waitress. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think a lot of people forget that a lot of people working in the arts don't work in the arts to pay all their bills. Yeah, I was thinking about it on the way here as well. I definitely think that I feel like women are socialized to compare themselves more, and I feel as a female photographer I maybe compare myself more than people who are men who are photographers. And I think it's because we're socialized from such a young age to read magazines and be like, oh, I want to be as curvy as her, I want to be as skinny as her, I want to be as pretty as her. And I think that's really come across in like the way that maybe some like other like women and female photographers feel. They feel that I feel like they just do compare themselves more. Just talking to like male photographers, and they're like, oh, just go out and do it. And I'm like, what do you mean you just go out and do it? Like, what do you mean you don't have this constant overthinking of like, should I do it? Should I even try? What's the point in trying? So-and-so has already done it. I do think that the comparison element is a bigger thing because now they're obviously in social media, but I do think that maybe it's a bigger thing for like female identifying photographers, you know, because you're already kind of socialized to compare yourself more. I do wonder if that's then affecting, because you have to just look at the numbers of like how many men are like working in photography and how many women are working in photography, and then look at the bloody classes where there's 75% female students, and then when they graduate, like, it just doesn't translate into the job. So I've been wondering, like, why is that? Like, what is, like, just how did we get there?
I think something that I've been really thinking about a lot in terms of this recently is as part of that consistently comparing yourself. For me, a huge part of that is consistently scrutinizing myself and like relentlessly scrutinizing everything that I'm doing or thinking about doing, and trying to imagine all the potential ways it could be taken, all the potential ways it could backfire, all the potential ways it could fail, or I could fail, or people could negatively associate things with it, you know, complete self-scrutiny of everything that I'm doing. And what struck me when I'm talking to male photographers is that there seems to be a complete lack of self-scrutiny, like almost a complete lack, like genuinely, like if you raise an issue about someone's project in a crit, say at Fresh Focus, and you say, like, have you considered that this might be taken this way, a lot of the time male photographers might be like, no, I hadn't thought that, and be horrified. But it's like that would never have even got to the stage where I was presenting that, because I would have instantly, you know, it's like a completely different level of criticism and scrutiny of what you're doing. And I think that comes from the similar kind of perspective of being very aware of how you are being perceived and how you could be perceived, and the same with others. I feel like women generally are much more likely to scrutinize other people's behavior, but themselves also. And I think that's currently what I'm thinking a lot about, is how that it's great in a crit scenario at Fresh Focus, say, when someone acknowledges, oh no, I never thought of that, that's terrible, I didn't even think people would think that. But what seems to happen quite a lot from things I read in other environments, perhaps more hostile environments, is that a man will receive criticism and then just completely not accept any form of scrutiny whatsoever, and just explode in a, I don't deserve to be criticised this way, I can't believe, you know, and that is the more worrying side of it. But I think it all stems from a completely different kind of structure of how we criticise ourselves.
I think it comes across as well in like the work that women are making, like, or like the way they make it. I know for like myself, like I've never really made a body of work just because I wanted to. There's always been like a core research element. I'm trying to say something. I'm really trying to, you know, think deeply about what I'm doing, what I'm trying to say, what impact that's going to have. And then I feel like you get you get male photographers who will just be like, I just made it because I wanted to. And it's not interesting. It's not well thought out. It's not got any research into it. They've just made it because they wanted to. And I feel like there's a difference in like kind of like just what you're wanting to make and what you're wanting to say. I feel like male photographers, they'll just make something, whereas women photographers, they have to back that up with so much research and so much like energy that goes into it. And then it comes across as well when you go to like exhibit things. I got asked recently why I hadn't submitted anything to the Street Level Open. That was just like an open call, anyone could submit work, and someone was like, well, why didn't you submit any work, like you've got loads of work? And I'm like, because I hadn't made anything new. In my head I have this thing that if I'm going to take part in any exhibition or show my work, it has to be something new that I've made. I'm not going to show something I've already shown before. And the person that like was like, oh, that's really interesting that like you feel that way, because they know other like women photographers that feel that way, and that person happens to be a man who's like worked on the same project and shown it in various iterations, like, but successfully. And it's the fact that I felt that I couldn't display something that I'd already shown before. I was like, no, I have to make something new. And I feel like, yeah, I think that comes across in a lot of places, and a lot of like exhibitions, and a lot of just the work that you do see, that you get to see, because yeah, I feel like men are more confident in just putting it out there.
I think there's also a financial element. It's all about value, I think, and I think men, generally speaking, are more likely to think that their work has an inherent value in both perspective. Oh yeah, I'm making this because I want to do it, and so it has value. But also, I'm taking pictures, and you know, why wouldn't I be paid for it? You know, there's this idea that everything deserves value and respect straight off the bat, which I know I don't have really struggled with, and I'm consistently kind of doing what you're talking about, where I'm trying to make things relevant to everyone so that there is value for everyone, because I'm like, why would someone be interested in something that I'm doing for me? I think it's a balance, because I don't think it's necessarily good to think everything you make has great value, and I also don't think it's good to think everything you make for yourself is worthless. So I do think it's a balance, but I know what you mean, in that there seem to be these strange polarities to do with gender. Not to consistently just rep Fresh Focus, but everyone kind of faces equal scrutiny, and that for some, I genuinely think, sitting in a lot of crits throughout the years at Fresh Focus, that for some people that's kind of the first time that they've had like not held back critique, you know, like just genuine crit of their work. And I think a lot of people are like, oh shit, I'm being like scrutinized and like asked why I've done things, and I don't necessarily have answers, and it's kind of like this funny critical awakening where they're like, oh okay. And I think you can either run away from that, or you can be like, this is actually a great environment.
But I think that's why Fresh Focus is so like valuable, because I mean, to people that were maybe experienced in crits or experienced in Fresh Focus crits, there's maybe times where some of the critique comes off as like kind of harsh, but it's not harsh. It's like, it's harsh in like, if you're, it's harsh in the way that if your like friend looked like an absolute mess, you would be like, are you going out wearing that? And it's,
my mum said that to me. Absolutely crushed me.
And yeah, it crushes like your friend, but then it like makes them maybe aware of like an issue that they weren't aware of before, and then when they go out, they're going to be fine, because you know they're not going to be like ridiculed.
I was wearing hot pants, it wasn't a good look.
But I do feel like Fresh Focus, like the critique is, it's not harsh for the sake of being harsh. Like, it's genuine criticism, and I definitely think it's like valuable for some people. And you know, sometimes you do need that kind of like, oh yeah.
So maybe just talk for like 1 minute about the MPG.
Okay.
Let's wrap it.
So the New Photographers Guild is a mentorship that's supported by Street Level. Basically, the New Photographers Guild is like a mentorship, so we meet once a month, and then they get like interesting people to come in and talk to us about like being an artist, being a photographer, having a professional practice. So we have a theme. The theme this year is construct. So there's 6 of us that are all making work around that theme. We also have to do like a pitch to like a blind panel, so like a panel of people that don't know us, and then hopefully maybe we'd get some work out of that. It hasn't happened out of any of the NPTs in the past, and I think this is the 6th one or the 5th one. I think it's the 6th one. So yeah, I'm doing that. So it's nice to have a different kind of like support group that works differently and has maybe more of like an outcome. It also has like a time scale. The people on it are real cool.
That's exciting. That's amazing. So keep your eyes peeled. Follow the New Photographers Guild on socials. Do they have socials?
Yeah, on Instagram.
I'll put links in whatever text box there is that accompanies this. Do you shoot analog?
Yes.
Completely?
Yeah, I try.
Like, predominantly?
Yeah, I would say I shoot completely analogically. I bought like a little like a point and shoot version of, like a digital version of the point and shoot Ricoh I was working on. I bought like a digital Ricoh. I tried to use it last year and I hated everything that I made, and I just, like, my brain, I can't do it. I just can't work digitally. If I can see the photo as soon as I've made it, I will hate it, and then I won't make any more photos. But if I shoot on film, I can't see what I'm making, and then I have some time to then, when I get the negs back, I'm excited because I'm like, oh, I have nice fresh negs. And then you have that little bit of space as well.
Do you think that, because I have a similar thing where if I shoot digitally, because I can instantly see it, I can instantly scrutinise it.
Yeah.
And I think it comes back to maybe some of the stuff we were talking about earlier, in that I will instantly pick it apart and take like 50 variants of the same image, and I won't be happy with any of them. Whereas, so for me that's kind of, and a lot of people deny the idea that film photography forces you to be slower in your image making. They're like, oh, it's bullshit, blah, 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 blah. You control how you shoot, whatever. But for me, like, it's kind of is a necessary pause from the picture to seeing it again, which actually does stop me overthinking it at the outset. I still have plenty of time to then overthink it in the darkroom or whatever, but, which I do. But it basically enables for me the process to actually run past that point, because I can't see what I've taken. And you have to trust your gut and just go with it. I totally like feel that, because if you can see it digitally, you can see it straight away, and you can straight away be unhappy with it. Whereas, you know, if you shoot a roll of film, you know, you don't develop it for a month, you kind of forgot what's on there, and then often, I mean, that moment has passed. You can't go back in time to then reshoot that photograph like 99% of the time, like, unless it's something that's very controlled. The photograph, you can't make it again, whereas if you're there in the moment, you can try and make that photograph again. But there is that kind of sense of, this is done, this is what I have now, this is good, I like this. Whereas if you're there in the moment, it's far easier to be like, no, I don't like this, because you're still there in the moment with enough time to maybe make the image again. I wonder as well if there's something in the fact, and this is just an idea as to maybe why analog photography is kind of appearing to have this comeback and becoming more popular again. I wonder if it's because now in a digital, post-digital, whatever it's called, like era, there is the paralysing kind of nature of possibility, and when you can see something immediately, you have a chance to make it better, and so you will continually kind of spend half an hour trying to make it better. Whereas I think that I actually do think that comes from an aspect of with digital, with smartphones, with the internet, you can consistently retry things. You can try it again, let's just do that again, delete that one, you know, like, let's change the filter or whatever, upload it again, oh, it's just a draft, let's edit it, you know, like there's this you're consistently able to manipulate things once it's happened. Whereas I think that that's potentially why people, and young people especially, are now actually returning to film, because it kind of frees you of that paralysis of indecision.
I would say it's 100% more that than the thing they always say is like, oh, it's because it brings back a certain nostalgia. Like, I don't think it really brings back that much nostalgia. Like, for some people, sure, it brings back a lot of nostalgia, but I don't think that's the reason why people are choosing to work on film. I think people are choosing to work on film. Yeah, you can be like, oh no, working on film doesn't make you work slower, but it is a different way of working, and we are so used to being in a digital world where everything is available so quickly and it can be edited so quickly. I mean, you can read an article, and by the time you finish the article, you could reload it, read it again, and it'd be edited and different. Like, or deleted entirely. Like, yeah, exactly. Like, things don't last as long. Whereas if you're working on film, you can't see what it looks like. So, yeah, you can, you know, people are like, oh, well, you could shoot the same photograph 50 times on film. Yeah, you can, but the chances that you're actually going to do that when film is so expensive in the first place and processing it is so expensive, like, I think that's the reason why people shoot on film. It's not because it's nostalgic, it doesn't remind them of their childhood. Maybe it does a wee bit, but I think it's the process of that little element of surprise, of
and like
being
trust,
excited.
it's like a trust in the unknown. Like, you just kind of hope
that it all works.
Yeah, you hope that it works
Move
out
on.
and that you're going to be like happy with like what you shot. And sometimes you get your film back and you're not happy with what you shot, but that's the kind of joy of it, and it does make you, I guess, slower and more appreciative, because it is like a slower process, you know, like you can fire off like 5 photos in a second on like an iPhone, but can you do 5 photos in a second on a roll of film? No, you can't, because you have to press the button each time
And wind it on.
and wind it on. Yeah, exactly. Like it is slower, and I do think it's just more enjoyable, and it gives me the space to not think about it for a while and to not hate it immediately. I can still have time to hate it, but at least I'll have had a little break where I can maybe forget about what I've shot and then maybe actually like something when I like finally see it again, like developed.
Thank you so much for listening. This has been Finding Focus. Thanks also to Lawrence Turner for producing the lovely intro and outro music. And finally, just a really big apology to everyone for having to listen to that terrible audio quality in the pub. As much as I think it was a nice idea to record these in a pub, the sound issues are just way too troubling for me. So yeah, I appreciate everyone bearing with, and don't worry, lesson learned.